Exclamation, everybody, and welcome back to Cube Ramblings, episode 100. Episode 1 of Cube Ramblings went out on March the 2nd of 2014. It is now, for me, Saturday night, March the 5th, 2014. This will be going out on March 6th, Sunday, as per usual. So that means 2 years, my friends, 2 years of doing this. For some reason, I just looked, a few seconds ago before I started recording, to actually get that, I looked at my playlists on YouTube to actually get that date on there. And for some reason, that first episode has like 224 views and like 4 upvotes. I don't know why. It's very unusual, but I assume that was just some kind of weird fluke in the system, and I'm just going to assume that everything's okay and everything's cool. A lot of people wanted to see what the hell it was all about and decided, yeah, this is not for me, which is cool also. It's just very strange. Very, very strange. It's been, for me, it's been an excellent week. I hope that all of you guys have been having a terrific week as well. I'm falling down a little bit on the videos. Nothing went out today on Saturday. That was it was what it was. After I got done the live stream last night, we're playing Borderlands, which I'm almost, I think, to the end of that. Although I don't know if I'm at the end of all the DLC or not. I couldn't tell you. But after playing that, I just said, you know what, I can't. There's nothing more I can do tonight. I was wiped out quite a bit. So, and I didn't have anything prepared as far as Crashlands is concerned. I just spent about 2 hours recording Crashlands, so I think I have enough for the week on that, hopefully. Got a lot accomplished finally. 2 hours recording and about an hour and a half prepping for it, so it's been a long day there. But getting a lot of things done now, getting back on track. I played this week, speaking of long recording sessions, Star Trek Birth of the Federation. That's a blast from the past. So far, so good on that. The reception seems to be pretty warm as far as that is concerned. I did get a little bit worried when within an hour of having that go up that had a downvote on it. I was like, ooh, okay. I know people don't like old stuff, but geez. That's fine. It is what it is. Like I said in those videos, I'm just going to do one playthrough of the Federation, and whether I win or lose, it doesn't matter. When it's over, it's over, and then I'll ask for some more feedback at the end of that. But my intention was that night when I recorded it, I was going to just record one episode of it, and then put it aside, and then try to catch up on Crashlands and other things. Well, I ended up getting so drawn in that I ended up playing about 2 hours of it. So I have enough video, I think, for the rest of the next week coming up here. So that is excellent. Very it just draws you in after a while. I've been wanting for quite some time to get a Star Trek game on the channel. So hopefully this one will not to get me in trouble. I'm always worried about the licensed things because, the music and stuff tends to be a problem. When I played through, for instance, Star Wars, what was that? Star Wars Republic Commando. That game, whenever you're playing a Star Wars game, the most iconic thing about it are not only the sound effects and the visuals, but also the music. The music is almost always, the licensed Star Wars music. You're playing a Star Wars game, and that gets you into quite a bit of trouble on YouTube when you start to upload that stuff. So I had to make sure that I, made it almost incomprehensible as background fodder. So too with the Star Trek themes and stuff. I try to make sure that I'm always talking and or trying to keep the volume down on that. So I actually might have to adjust that even more. It's so far so good, but I have a feeling that I might need to turn the music down just a notch or two more in the game settings after this session, which I think will be the next 2 episodes, and then a new session after that. But I'm really enjoying that. It's I'm not a big 4X player. I've started playing like Master of Orion just off camera to get used to it. And I've played some 4X games in the past, but I'm not particularly good at them. Let's face it, I'm not particularly good at any video games, but in particular, puzzle games and 4X games tend to be the hardest games for me to play because they require some thought, and dividing my attention between thinking about the puzzle and also trying to be somewhat mildly possibly entertaining to a comatose patient while commentating on it, it makes for a very stressful situation for me, and I do this to relieve stress, not to bring more stress on. So I tend to gravitate away from some of those things because I struggle mightily with it, or when I do it, I don't do it well. I mean, you look at my playthrough of, and it's not a 4X game, obviously, but the real-time strategy game, Homeworld Deserts of Karak. I was not very pleased with how I played that game. And I'm not just talking from a tactical perspective. The game is easy, so it wasn't really a problem that way. I'm talking mostly from an entertainment standpoint. Like there was no zingers, there was no real personality in those videos, and so I just a better person than me would have just deleted all of them and said, screw it, we're not doing this anymore. But I one of the things I set out for myself was that even if I fail at something, I'm going to leave it out there, no matter how terrible it may be. You get this urge sometimes to go back into your old videos that make you cringe and try to delete them. Try to wipe out history, as it were. And I've resisted doing that because it's just not. If I'm going to be improving myself, I need to embrace the failures as well as the successes. So, not from a content creator perspective, not very happy with how I played that game or how I did it. The other part of that, though, is that it would have been extremely difficult for me to really put some personality into it because I mercilessly edited those videos. Like I ripped into them because there was just so much downtime, so much just boring stuff to look at that I thought, let's just cut out all the nonsense that I can while still maintaining some of the story, or at least most of the story in there. And of course, when the story's going on, I'm not talking because I want to let that shine through. So, it is what it was. Let's put it that way. But I'm not going to talk about that anymore. And that's for a channel update. Which, by the way, I am aware that I have neglected to put a channel update up for both January and February. January, I had the footage all recorded, but a second hard drive failed in my old computer. I was able to recover all the raw footage, so I still have it. It's just that I'm going to re-record the audio over top of it because it's going to be it's all out of date now. So that will be now the March channel update if I ever get around to it. Hopefully I will. And February I came and went so fast that I couldn't keep up. There was just too much going on. So that's what happened with that. It's not going away. It is something I tend to do every month. I just need to get back on that horse and ride it out. Anywho, there's a bunch of news articles this week. A little bit of a complaint, if you will. I rely pretty heavily on the games journalists and gaming websites to feed some good information down the pipeline so that I can, link to it and basically aggregate stuff. I am just a giant freaking aggregator. I don't really add much to the discussion other than some middle bid points here and a little bit of cliff notes maybe. But this week there's two things have happened that really kind of annoy me quite a bit. The first thing that happened was this whole deal with the Spintires game. So here's what's happening. I'll link it to Kotaku because they actually had probably the better take on this for a change. But a bunch of outlets, Rock Paper Shotgun and a few others, I think Destructoid even got in on it at some point. A bunch of the outlets, Eurogamer definitely, just jumped on, they basically reported on a social media thing that really should have been better researched and fleshed out. So here's what I'm getting at. The game Spintires, this week there was a problem. There was a game-breaking bug that was introduced into the game in an update. It was a time-based bug where certain times and dates the game would just crash, and it would crash after about a minute of playing, and so on and so forth. And there were a bunch of, as the social media tends to do, there was a bunch of internet users who jumped on the opportunity to turn this into the developer and the publisher of Spintires have always been kind of at odds with one another. I say kind of, but they've been at odds with one another throughout the development of the game. There's been some bad blood there, but certain elements on social media decided to blow that into perspective and just blow it out of perspective and say, oh, this is just the developer sabotaging their own game, and because maybe the publisher's doing something again, and all that stuff. Completely unfounded, out of left field stuff. I mean, we'll be honest here. There was reason to believe that we know that there's bad blood between them, but you don't go and just spread that rumor around and then, without having any kind of actual news or actual insider news about it. Granted, some community members went in there, they looked at the code, and they saw what they thought were quote-unquote time bombs in it, where certain dates would cause problems, where the game would crash, and they went in and patched it in the DLL, and that was passed around, on Reddit and stuff like that, to try to fix it and try to get it back into speed. And then it was exacerbated by the fact that neither the developer nor the publisher was very forthcoming about what the heck was going on, and they're still kind of guarded about it too at this point. But it turns out, even to add more fuel to the fire, a lot of people started to jump to conclusions and demand refunds for the game. I assume that caused some kind of problem where the game was, Valve may have got involved. I don't know for sure. This is all rumors and speculation on my part. But we do know that the game disappeared from Steam for a day or two, maybe 2 days. But it has now been restored. And actually, the article I'm looking into may or may not have an update in it where it says that the game was restored or not. But it was temporarily pulled from Steam while this bug was getting fixed. And the publisher and developer have since released a patch for it. So hopefully it's now working for everybody. Of course, you gotta, if you put that DLL in there, you need to unput it in there. Those kinds of things. And their initial assessment of it was that it was a bug that was due to how they handle pirated copies. Sort of a little bit of a DRM check, if you will. Not really. Yeah, it's more like a copy protection check that was in the game that had a bug in it and caused legitimate copies to appear to be pirated copies, and thus the game triggered its like quote-unquote self-destruct, where it would crash out to the desktop. And that was just put into place to keep it out, keep pirates from enjoying the game without having paid for it. But apparently there was bugs in there that had been identified earlier, and they just had to get them fixed, and they were slow to fix them before it became an issue. I assume it has something to do with leap days and whatnot, because it uses the real-time clock for certain things. So this being a leap year, it probably is part of the problem. Who knows? What we're still waiting for from them is a full explanation as to the problem. That's the partial explanation that was given out. But as it stands right now, Spintires is now back on Steam, as far as I know, and is fully playable, as far as I know. So if you own that game, then you should be good to go with the latest update, if you get an update from Steam on it. But these journalism sites, man, they ran with that initial assessment by the community that this was a sabotage and this was bad blood and all that stuff, and did not even bother to try and figure it out on their own, or sit on it and wait for an official explanation, or at least not spin it, but at least leave out some of the drama. But them clicks, man, they need them clicks, and a lot of sites got involved on that, and it's when I saw this going on, I was like, well, I definitely want to talk about the fact that Spintires has a bug in it, and it was temporarily pulled from Steam, but I was not going to get into the whole, well, it's this, it's black helicopters, it's black helicopters all the way down. It's aliens have landed in Roswell. It's, just everybody needs to chill out a little bit, I think. Granted, it's, I can understand the being upset about having a game that you paid for that no longer works. And I don't fault anyone for that. I do fault the journalists quote unquote journalists, who should know better than to report on community feelings without actually following up on them, or at least marking them as such, and not making it the headline as it was. But anyway, that's beef number one. Beef number two, and this one's a little bit more subtle. I just saw another wave of information come out about Mirror's Edge catalysts, and a lot of sites are running the. I'm not going to link to them because there's no point. A lot of sites are running the two videos that have been released, one about the combat and one about the movement. And here's my beef. If you actually watch those videos, which apparently nobody has, if you actually watch those videos, you'll find that there's really nothing in there that we haven't already seen. Like, literally, they took their long-form trailer, and they chopped it up into two pieces and said, here's what the movement looks like, here's what the combat looks like. There's literally, like, I've looked at them, I'm like, I've seen every last piece of footage. In fact, they didn't even edit it. They didn't change the order of it in editing. It's just the same freaking thing. It's from start to beginning, start to end. It's like, what the hell, man? Is everybody asleep at the wheel here? Is nobody like calling this out and going, hey, so information was released, but it's the same stuff we've seen already? Like, how many times is EA going to release a trailer that is the exact same thing, just cut up a different way, before somebody goes, "Hey, you have anything new to tell us? Do you have anything new there?" And what worries me about that, and this has been a thing that's been nagging at my brain for a while. Like, I've got a pre-order, so I'm gonna I've got it coming in regardless of what happens here. But the thing that's been nagging at the back of my brain for a little bit is, whenever they show the movement and the combat mechanics and stuff, they have a lot of interspersed like non-interactive cutscenes in there, sort of like what would I call it? What would be an example? Sort of like a kill cam almost, where you fire that last shot and then all of a sudden camera zooms out and it shows you doing some badass things and bullets going through somebody's skull and blowing out the back of their head, all that stuff. That seems to be like, it seems like there's some of that in the game. I don't know if that's actually true or not, or if they're just doing some creative editing on it. But I worry a little bit, because one of the really compelling things about the first game was that it did not really pull you out of first person at all. It very rarely did it. The only time it did was when it was with the cutscenes that were animated, right? Which I thought were fine, but a lot of people didn't like, but that's fine. But this one, if like every 5 seconds you do something and you get like a kill cam and stuff, that's going to get really old really fast. And I'm also kind of worried that some of the badass things that you see, like some of the movement and the combat, like where she runs up the wall and does a kickflip and takes the guy out. Well, in the midst of that kickflip, like it goes to that sort of kill cam thing. It's like, well, that's great and all, but what did I do to get into that? Did I just like press X or something to do that? Like, is it going to be like press X to be badass? Because that's what I'm worried about. Maybe it's just some creative editing. Maybe they're just, maybe that's not how it plays out in the game. I haven't heard anybody I haven't read anything that says anything like that. I'm just concerned that every time I see it, it's like, here, we're not going to stay in first person mode. We're going to show you what it looks like from outside the body. And it's like, well, that's not really as immersive as it probably should be. So I'm kind of worried about that a little bit, but it's something that's been in the back of my head for a while, just looking at this trailer. I mean, it should be. I'm looking at the same freaking trailer over and over and over again. It's the same damn footage. It's like they haven't recorded anything new in what, a year or 6 months or however it was since the first trailer came out. But anyway, those were my two beefs. My two beefs for this, hopefully for a long time. So a couple big things, big information dumps that did come out this week. We have one on No Man's Sky and we have one on Quantum Break. So I'll start out with No Man's Sky. I'm going to link you to Ars Technica for this one because they actually do a very good run through on the state of No Man's Sky and the gameplay and what's going on in there. We saw, I think there was a video about some of the gameplay. I didn't actually get a chance to watch it though. But from what I understand, so No Man's Sky, first of all, is out now for pre-orders. Now, last time I looked, and it was like 2 days ago, I think, it was not, the pre-order was not up on Steam yet. I don't know if it's up on Steam now. It might be. But last time I looked, it wasn't, but it was up on GOG. And so I went and pre-ordered it on GOG. It is $60. It is a full price game. It's very much buyer beware right now, I would say. I am pre-ordering it because somebody's got to. Somebody's got to figure out what this game actually is. I mean, there's some good information in the article I'm looking at too about what the game, about the half hour that the reviewer had with the game, the exploration and stuff, but there's still a lot of empty blanks there. Like, yes, you can explore any planet you're on. Yes, it's persistent in that if you're probably going to be the first person to ever land on that planet. You get to name all the stuff you find. You get to name the planet itself. If someone else comes along somehow and stumbles upon your planet, they'll see everything that you named and all that stuff. Any craters you make in the game, like if you dig through the ground or something like that, or you throw bombs and they explode the ground, or you kill off an entire species, all that will be reflected if someone else happens to stumble upon your little neck of the woods at some point. And in general, you're trying to get to the center of the galaxy. If you get near a planet that someone else is near, you will possibly see them, from what I understand, although it's very unclear about that. It was not like a definitive answer on that. But beyond that, it is a single player experience. Like you're soloing it. If you want to join up with other people, good luck, because you're going to all start at completely random spots in the universe, and there's billions upon trillions of stars that are generated in this No Man's Sky universe. So yeah, have fun with that. Although honestly, if everybody's goal is to get to the center of the galaxy, then eventually you'll probably meet up with a lot of people if everybody's heading towards that goal. And then it gets pretty much vague. Like there's nothing else. From what I understand, the flying is very arcadey, which is fine. There was some thought that the shooting is kind of a little bit weird. I don't know what exactly that means, but that's just, they said it was a little bit off. It's not quite like a first-person shooter, but that who knows what that means. And nothing else. Like not really anything else has been revealed. So it is still very much a mystery wrapped in an enigma as far as this game is concerned. I can't say I've ever seen a game that is this hyped up that still nobody really knows anything about. And even the reviewers that have sat down with it have only been able to sit down for half an hour, so they can't really get into the game to tell you much. And the part that they tell you about, really, they're very vague about it. It's almost like they don't know what to do. It's kind of like that first time you dropped into Minecraft and you were like, okay, so now what? Right? For them, it seems like that's the case here, which is fine. There's nothing particularly wrong with that. I mean, it's a sandbox game, for crying out loud. That's pretty much the going rate. But it's just very concerned that nobody can really pin down what exactly this thing is. So I have pre-ordered it on GOG just because somebody needs to know what this thing is. I would recommend, though, for $60, I would recommend most people just wait. Just wait until somebody else digs into it and figures out what the hell's going on, because there's a whole lot of nothing, a whole lot of no news in regards to that. It's like, this thing's coming. We don't know what it is, though. Okay, great. It's $60 though, and I'm not sure if the co-op goes, like, it's going to be a simultaneous release between PS4 and PC, and I don't know if the co-op works between the two platforms, like PC players can see PS4 players and vice versa. I don't know if that's the case. I want to say that I saw there was some kind of cross-platform play, but I can't narrow that down. I can't find it, so don't quote me on that. It's more than likely it's going to be a segregated population, but I don't know. I mean, that would be kind of weird though, because if you're naming planets and stuff and all that stuff, you would think there would be a cross-platform thing there. I can't really say anything for certain there on that. But yeah, it's sci-fi. It's a game that I want to play, that I've wanted to play since I first saw it. I understand going into it that there might not be. It's going to be one of those find your own way to have fun, which is great and dandy. But I'm still on the fence about exactly how much freedom you have. Like, if they came out and said, you can build stuff, you can do this, you've got all these different weapons and all this stuff. Like even the weapons they said aren't very, like there's not very much variety in the weapons that they saw. Like you can't really custom, as far as we know, you can't customize the weapons or anything. So I don't know. It's a whole big bucket of I don't know, and that's what's got me kind of concerned about it. And it's got a lot of people concerned about it. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you've ever thought to yourself, I probably shouldn't pre-order something, I probably should wait, this is one of those times where you should really, really, really consider waiting until somebody finds something to do in that game. So in addition to that, Quantum Break, as I said earlier, there's a preview out on a Destructoid of it. It's looking pretty good. It's also going to be on the Xbox 360. Let's try it again. Xbox One. And I think I already have it pre-ordered for the Xbox One. I'm pretty sure I do. And I think there's a preload for that soonish. I don't remember exactly when. And it's going to be on Windows 10 through the Windows Store. You can't buy it on Steam or anything else like that. That has prompted some consternation from the developer community. I think there was an article where Tim Sweeney was talking about, who is from Epic, I believe, Epic Games, where he was sort of lambasting Microsoft for their locking people into the Windows Store and Windows, what is it, Unified Platform Majigger. I forget it's like UWC or something like that. I forget the actual. Us programmers, we love our acronyms, and I can never remember all of them. But it's something like that. Some cross-platform sandbox thing that allows it to work. Allows games to work easily port easily between the PC or Windows 10, I should say, and the Xbox One. And I'm not gonna leave you any links to the Tim Sweeney thing because that's more drama that we don't really need right now. But it's suffice it to say, there's been a little bit of a kerfuffle about the Quantum Break stuff and how it's going to work out. I would have liked to play it on Windows 10, but one, I don't have Windows 10 yet. I'm really considering getting it, or upgrading to it anyway. And two, it's the fact that it's only available on the Windows Store really has a lot of people cringing, like, oh, this is going to be another Games for Windows Live thing, isn't it? that horrific 20-tentacled monster that was Games for Windows Live that ended up, having to be ripped out from the guts before it spread like a plague or a virus amongst people's computers. But yeah, it was. This is really. There's shadows of that going on, and so it's kind of a dicey thing. But as far as the preview goes, it sounds like it's a pretty. Let's try that sentence again. It's a pretty game. It's a very pretty game. It's not a cover-based shooter. There is some cover in the game, but they say that it's very hard to move between cover. It's more a test of your super abilities that you get in a game, and just gunning between all these people and being able to manipulate time and do all that stuff. And it's also it's running alongside a television series, quote unquote. It's not a television series, but a live action series, where there's going to be a live action Quantum Break series in addition to the game stuff. Now, I'm not sure exactly how this works. It's kind of confusing how it's been described to this point, because I didn't realize that this was the case up to this point. I heard that there were rumors that there's going to be a live action thing, but I didn't realize it was. I'm not sure how it fits into the game just yet. Like, is it a series running right now? Is it kind of like the what was that MMO that did it? There was a sci-fi MMO where the Earth was being terraformed by aliens, and we were fighting back against it. And I forget the actual name of the game, but it had an MMO game, and it had an actual television series on Sci-Fi Channel, and those two would kind of feed off of one another as far as like what players did in the game would feed into the story that was being written for this TV series and all that stuff, and that didn't really work out too well. But this one, I'm not sure exactly how this is working out. They have actual actors. They're actually doing full motion video stuff. Like, I keep saying full motion video, but live action video stuff. But it sounds like there's going to be full motion video scenes between episodes of the game, between chapters in the game, I guess. Because they're saying that the game is going to, in order to run that, the game needs a persistent internet connection. In order to download that, because those videos are not on the game disc, they are, or in the game, install, they are out on the internet because they were far too big to bring down. The game was too big as it was, so they actually stream them down. So you need an internet connection to see those, although you don't, as far as I know, need an internet connection for anything else. It's just for those videos, and I guess if you don't have it, those videos don't play. I'm not sure exactly how all that fits in. Like, it's kind of confusing how they're saying it. Like, they're saying it's like between chapters you get these video series. I don't know if it's an entire episode, if it's like a 20-minute video, that's going to be interesting, or if it's just a tidbits or snippets of what will be a TV series, or maybe there is a TV series going on right now that I don't know about that is Quantum Break, that is this thing. I'm juggling here. I don't know. The brain cells, they're not working. Somebody explain this in perfect English, because I cannot figure out how exactly those things are fitting in there. But other than that, the only information I've seen on it is that there's been like kind of a break in reviewers. Like, some reviewers are like, yeah, this is fantastic, and some are like, this is well-worn territory and there's nothing new here. So I assume it's somewhere in the middle, since I've seen both ends of that spectrum on that. But like I said, I think I have it pre-ordered, and I'm going to be playing it on the Xbox One, and hopefully recording it. I have to see if I can get my other, not my Hauppauge, but my other 60 FPS thing working. Maybe it'll work now that I have the new computer. We shall see. But that's it. That's what I have on that so far. I linked you to Destructoid, which gives you just a little bit of a snippet. There's not much. Well, no, it actually does go into pretty long depth. Actually, I managed to find the one that had quite a bit of depth to it. So you have that to read about and see if it's in your wheelhouse. It's obviously in mine, because, sci-fi and all those things. I'm just a sucker. I am a sucker for sci-fi. I'm a sucker for all those things. So what else do we have on here? What else do I want? What do I want to segue into? That's the real question here. Let's segue into esports, shall we? Because it's been a while. Paladins I haven't played Paladins in about a month, and they're already up to like patch 17 or something. I really need to get back into that to figure out what's happened, because I need more of that in my life. I've been just so busy just between recording videos and doing this beta testing thing, and it's just, man, I need to focus memory. But speaking of the what am I saying? Esports stuff. It was announced, I'll leave you a link to Attack of the Fanboy, that Rocket League, the developers Psyonix, are going to have a Rocket League Championship Series with a 75G prize pool. Yes. I guess I should polish off my Rocket League lack of skills as well. It's going to kick off this month, apparently. And it will feature 3v3 matches from players both in North America and Europe. The PC and PS4 platforms are invited. And there's going to be 2 qualifying rounds with $10,000 worth of prizes each. And then the qualifying rounds will have open qualifiers for teams to join. The international finals with the top 4 teams from each region will compete for a $55,000 grand prize. And then the registration begins on March the 25th. So that is a thing. You know, that's certainly it's certainly something that I think everybody saw coming because of how easy the game is to get into, but difficult to master it is, and it just had it written all over it from the very beginning. It's very cool to see another contender in the esports arena. I wish I cared more about esports. I really do. I mean, I guess my problem is that I'm too old. I'm too old for esports. There's a reason why most of the competitors, top competitors in esports are skew young, and it's because your reaction times and your hand-eye coordination is much sharper when you're young than it is when you're an old bogey like me. Not that my hand-eye, I mean, even when I was young, my hand-eye coordination sucked. I couldn't play any organized sports because it just wasn't possible. My brain just could not handle it. But I guess the consequence of that is that I'd never really gotten into any real, any real organized sports. Not just esports, like regular sports too. Like I'll occasionally watch a game, but not really care. Not really care too much about who wins or loses or not. Esports is, I think, the big, I guess the big, I'm trying to think of the word to use here. The big stopping point, I guess, in my brain is that there's a lot of lingo and there's a lot of knowledge that you sort of have to bring into it in order to figure out what's going on. And you know, esports commentators have tried, some more successful than others, to really teach people how things working and teach people the meta and teach people the terminology and whatnot that's in play. But I think unlike real life sports, I feel like real life sports. Man, that was a bad. Let me reverse that. Unlike contact sports, let's put that one out there. I feel like in order to really enjoy what you're watching, you have to have really been into the game that's going on. Like Rocket League, I could see myself enjoying a little bit more than most because I played the game quite a bit, although it has changed a lot since I last played it, so I might be completely out of the loop. I know there's all these mutators and stuff now, but it's still variations on the same theme, really. But I could see myself being more interested in that because I've played the game a little bit, and I kind of understand it a little bit, and I can fire it up whenever I want to. Whereas, say, something like StarCraft 2, not really interesting to me. Fighting games, I've never really been into fighting games. I'm that guy that just mashes buttons because I can't be bothered with all that timing and stuff. It's just too much for my brain to handle. And what else? What other E's? Well, I guess, paladins, or not paladins. Paladins? Yes, paladins. I keep getting confused. You got Paragon, you got Paladins, you got all this freaking stuff, and I keep getting confused on which one's which. Paladins I could see being invested in too, and they are getting into the esports realm already. I mean, they're already pushing it, and they're still not even released yet. So I can see being a little bit into that too, because I can kind of follow some of it. Although the problem with that is there's a lot of meta in there. Like, oh, this deck is better than this one, and this combination of cards is better than that one, and oh no, that's the old good meta. This is the new good meta, and all that stuff. That would probably turn me off because there's a lot of complexity in there that I don't really fully grasp. But something like Rocket League that is very simple, at least to get into, I think works itself well as that, as well as say Overwatch inevitably will probably get into that as well, much like TF2 was, and those seem to be a little bit easier to follow as well as a spectator anyway, because you don't have to be up to speed with all the stuff, all the terminology for them. But that's just my opinion, which counts for very little other than for what's in my own brain. So that's the deal. That is the deal with Rocket League, a 75 grand championship being in the works. So it is March. The first Friday of March has passed, which means we've had a new a monthly bundle. In this bundle, we got Wasteland 2 Director's Cut, which also it's a post-apocalyptic RPG. I never played the Wasteland game, so I wasn't really sure if it's something that I would like. Although, having played a little bit of Fallout, I guess I would kind of like it. Although we'll see. But after I put the Steam key in for it, I actually got, as part of that, Wasteland 2, the non-director's cut, and Wasteland 1. So I guess all that was part of the deal with the Humble Bundle there. So that's pretty cool. So if I want to go back and revisit the original Wasteland, I can and see what is going on with that. In addition, we got Grav, which is a sandbox. It's a survival sandbox, basically. It's Minecraft at its most basic. Although there's crafting mechanics, there's planets to explore, hunt creatures, you can build outposts, craft weapons and armor, you can play multiplayer with other players. It's pretty much your sandbox, run-of-the-mill stuff. I never really looked at Grav before, because there's other games that are doing almost the exact same thing. You got, Empyrean Galactic Survival, you've got Space Engineers, which is far more basic of all those, and various other things of that nature. But now that I have Grav, I'll probably take a look at it and see what it's all about. It's still in Steam Early Access, so it's got some ways to go. The third game that came out was Shantae and the Pirate's Curse. This one, the only reason I know about this game, this is like a 2D side scrolling platformer with a really cool cartoon animations and stuff. The only reason I know about this is that there was a speed run done of it at one of the GDQs. I want to say SGDQ, but it might have been AGDQ. I don't remember which one, but I saw it there because I never even heard of the game, and they speedrunners play through it really quickly, and it was quite interesting. It was an interesting thing. So that's there. I Am Bread also was part of the monthly bundle. That's one of those comedic. It's like a surgeon simulator thing. It's like, hey, let's give you weird mechanics and just set you free and let you. It's YouTuber bait. I mean, basically, is what that is. Then Sentinels of the Multiverse, the video game. This one, I have no idea. It's a card game, and I'm intrigued. I don't know how to play it. I've never heard of it before, and I've installed it, and I intend on looking at it. We'll see. I don't know if I'll make a video of it, but I'll certainly look at it. I don't know anything about it. It's got superheroes in it. What look like superheroes in it, and it's some kind of card game. You compose a team of comic book heroes. with their own backstories and grudges, and I don't know. I'm very, very curious to see what this is. I've never even heard of it before. See, this is why it's this kind of thing that I enjoy, like a humble bundle for, like this monthly bundle. You know, a lot of times they tend to rehash things that are everybody kind of knows about already. Like Ark Survival Evolved is part of this bundle this month. And that's stuff that we've seen a bunch of. So that's kind of well-worn territory. It's stuff like this, stuff that I'd never heard of before, or a lot of people haven't heard of before, but have positive reviews. Like, that's the kind of thing that you want a bundle for right there. This is what makes or breaks a bundle, I feel like. And like I said, Ark Survival Evolved is the next one on the list. And I think I don't need to explain that too much. Ride dinosaurs, build stuff, ride more dinosaurs, collect poop, ride dinosaurs, build stuff, collect poop. You know, it's just a day in the life of Ark, pretty much. Then there is a humble original that they started last month and is carried into this month. And this month is called Battle Sloths, which looks like an old school tank battle. What was that Atari game? There was an Atari 2600 game. I think it was like Tanks or Tank Battle or something, where it was just two tanks on the screen, and one would start in one corner and the other one would start in the other corner, and you'd go through this little maze and you'd shoot each other and stuff. That's pretty much what this looks like, only it's with sloths that are battle ready and eating pizza, apparently. So there you go. It's I'll read the tin on it. Battle Sloths is the fast-paced local multiplayer competitive. Wow, that's that sucks. Okay. Twin stick shooter of your slothy dreams, complete with up to 4 human players. Will play against AI sloths in a quest to collect the most pizza. With 12 unique weapons, 7 game modes, customizable battle settings, team versus options. What? Team versus options. What the hell does that mean? We're now fighting the options menu is what we're doing. Free for all, a nuke, and more hats than you can fit on 50 sloths' heads. You'll have plenty to do as you train to become the ultimate gun-toting, hoverboarding, pizza-eating sloth on the block. Interesting. Okay. If I had friends, I guess this would be fun to play. If I had friends that could come over for pizza while we watch sloths eat pizza, I guess. And we have a humble monthly debut of Switch Cars. And I was playing this a little bit yesterday after the live stream. I had to see what this was. It just looked ridiculous. I had to see it. It's exactly what it sounds like. I'll read the paragraph here, and this will pretty much sum it up for you. Escape alien beasts through procedural environments using more than 1,000 vehicles. All you need to do is reach the year 2055, but you are probably not going to make it. Not the first time, not the second, but perhaps the 100th? Every round is different, and you'll get better over time, so crack your knuckles and show those alien beasts who's the master of vehicular arts, the ultimate escaper of Earth, the unintended interdimensional time traveler, scientist man of pure vehiculative efficiency, or get struck by a bus and try again. Yeah, so the game is it's kind of like an endless runner almost, except it's got an end, and it's not. You're controlling the runner, so you can actually stop and smell the roses if you want to. And there are a ton of vehicles in it. Trains, RVs, motorcycles, there's balloons, there's blimps, there's airplanes, there's helicopters, there's boats, there's speedboats, there's not hoverboards, but yeah, those things through bogs that run through bogs and all that stuff. Hovercraft, that's the word I'm looking for, and various other things. It's very strange. So you start out, it's just a side-scrolling game. It's 2D art. There's various lanes. There's a couple lanes at the top of the screen that are the air lanes. So if you're flying an airplane, you want to get up to the top of the screen and go through those lanes. And then there's like a couple lanes down the bottom or through the rest of the scene that can either be road or rail or grass or water. You know, if you want to ride a boat, you go all the way down to the bottom of the screen and so on and so forth. You can collect, along the way, collect up to 3 different vehicles, and they map to your Z, X, and C buttons on your keyboard. And then you get various power-ups along the way, like you can have a grapple hook, you can have a machine gun that you can put onto it, and then when all else fails, you can jump out with the space bar and run into something else and link that to one of your buttons and keep on going. All the vehicles have limited gas, but you can find gas stations along the way, but the whole thing is like kind of procedurally generated, so you never know when you're going to get one, or what's going to come up next. There's a bunch of terrain markers that kind of try to tell you what's coming up next. As you go along the way, there's various stages each year, and as you're driving to the right, you'll get this time dilation thing that will happen, which will push you to the next stage of the game. And there's also some portals that you can jump through that will help you get further ahead. And there's a timer that kicks down. Every time you go into a new stage, you get a timer at the bottom of the screen. When that timer hits 0, a giant space sloth thingy, space worm thingy, comes running after you at full speed and destroys anything that you're in, unless you go fast enough to get away from it. And eventually it'll wreck your face and you die. And then you get the option to start at the year in which you died at, so you can constantly upgrade that way. It's got kind of like a roguelite-ish thing going on there, but not quite. And that's the way it goes. And there's various lanes that you travel in. So as you move up and down the screen, it will move into those lanes. And there's obstacles you have to avoid and all that stuff. So it's a very simple concept that I could see being quite interesting to have as like a background image as you're doing stuff. It's not really something that you would let's play per se, but it's certainly an interesting concept there. But yeah, that was I was playing that. That was pretty ridiculous. I got to like 2009 or something in the game, and it starts you out at like 1990 maybe, or 1980, or maybe 2000. I don't remember exactly where it starts you out, but as you go along, it can jump into new things, and there's certain stages. There are certain cars that are better, and it'll flash on the screen. It says like, "Hey, this guy's better. You should probably switch into that," and so on. And then your vehicles can get destroyed, in which case you then have to go find another one to map to that key, and it gets pretty chaotic, as you might imagine, towards the end. So that is that. The early unlocks for next month, if you pay early, is South Park: The Stick of Truth and This War of Mine. There's 2 early unlocks next month. So again, 2 well-worn titles. So I'm hoping that they have more of these interesting ones in there, like the Switch Cars and the Sentinels of the Multiverse, and things that we haven't really heard about too much. That would be really nice. I mean, I know they're looking for things that have very positive reviews and stuff, and so it's hard to find something with a very positive review that also nobody's heard of. But I still feel like that's the catch. I feel like that's the thing that would bring people back in droves to monthly bundles and stuff. So, but apparently they're doing really good. The monthly bundle's doing really good anyway. So I guess they don't need to change much with that. Let's do a few things here. So there's been some more Steam security changes that have caused the internet to go into an uproar, as it always does when change happens. But in November, Valve had introduced some holds to hold trading, to try to keep people from gaming the trading and just making, stores stealing people's stuff and not giving them, I'm trying to think of the right words here, like getting access to people's inventories and not compensating them properly and all that stuff. There was a lot of gaming of the system going on. So they put a hold on that was, I think it was like a 5-day hold for new trades, that go on, unless it's someone that unless you're trading with someone that you've been friends with for over a year. Well, they're increasing that now to 15 days, so that they can have the ability to kill any unauthorized trades that are going on. If you use the two-step mobile authentication, the Steam Guard, which Valve is saying 95% of the daily trades do, there's no waiting period, and that continues. After that, also if you've been friends with someone for over a year, you only get a 1-day hold on a trade instead of the longer 15 days. That has caused a bunch of consternation because there's a lot of trades going on, especially in Counter-Strike for skins, weapon skins, and mods and all that stuff. Now they've increased that, but that's the whole reason that they put it in place in the first place, is that there was a lot of fraud and stuff going on in there. So yeah, it is what it is, and I figured I'd just throw that one out there. I'll link you to PC Gamer. They don't say much more about it than that, and they don't actually talk about the community feedback on it, but I guess I'll have to give them kudos for that this week, because every gaming journalist that has commented on community reactions this week has formulated a clickbait article in the process. Another little piece of information. While we're on the subject of Steam, before we go away from Steam, Steam is rolling out the ability to do adaptive bundle discounts. Now, this is at the behest, or not the behest. This is at the control of the actual owners of the games that are in the bundle. So, what does that mean? So, if there's a bundle on Steam, a bundle of games, like for instance the Star Wars games, there's a whole bundle out there where you can buy like 15 Star Wars games for one price. The problem is, up to this point, everybody had to pay that price. Even if you already owned a few of the games in that bundle, you ended up buying them again. You ended up paying full price for them. I don't think you got them again, but I think you still paid full price for them. So what the Valve is doing now, what they're rolling out now, is the ability for the creators of those bundles to provide discounts if you already own games in the bundle. Now, it has to be enabled on a per bundle basis. It's not something that happens across the site. It's just something that they do on it's at the control of whoever is running the bundle. But you can it'll do things like allowing you can buy a bundle, but you only have to pay for the games that you don't own, so you might get a significant discount on it. I don't know if that's always the case. I don't know if there's a way for them to just, if it's always going to be that you would pay for only the games that you don't own, or if it's more of we can give you a bigger refund on the bundle because you own so many games. Like, I don't know if it's more of a formula like, hey, you own 2 games, so we'll give you an additional 30% off. Or if it's more of no, these 2 games are both together, cost $10, so we'll give you an additional $10 off. I'm not sure exactly how they're working it, if it's one way or the other, because it does make a bit of a difference. If it's a percentage thing, then it's like, well, we're giving you additional loyalty discount, quote unquote, if that's the case, which means you're still kind of paying a higher price than you would if you just bought the game separately, so to speak. Or if it's going to be more of no, we're literally slashing the price of these other pieces of the bundle off because you already own those things. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to flesh out yet, but they are rolling that one out. That's like the change that is coming soonish. They showed in the article I'm linking to on Rock Paper Shotgun, they actually show you an example of what it looks like. So there you go. It actually does say the individual price of 10 items you don't have, and then it gives you a percentage discount. So again, I don't know if it's percentage based or if it's actual numbers based underneath. But there you go for that additional news snippet along those lines. And the last thing I want to throw out there for this week, I was going to talk about Forza Motorsport 6 Apex, but because that's actually coming to Windows 10, it's going to be free to play. But I don't have much to say about it, so I'm just going to. I'm not going to say anything about it. That's literally all I had to say about it. But I do want to talk about Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear. Now, this one is there was a let me get the company's name here so I don't mispronounce or missay it. There was a company. Where is it at? Beamdog. Yes, Beamdog went back and created enhanced editions of both Baldur's Gate games and Icewind Dale, and those have been released. Those have been out on Steam and otherwise for quite some time. I think they now work on HD screens, and you can play. I think the co-op actually works all over the internet now, so you can actually play with friends over the internet. Which, as before, I don't think there was any co-op in the games. It was just one player, but now you can do multiples. But what they've done is they wanted to. They've made an expansion for the Enhanced Edition. So you have to have Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition for this to work. But they've made an expansion, a 25-hour expansion called Siege of Dragonspear, and the idea of this was to link the storylines between Baldur's Gate 1 and Baldur's Gate 2. So it's kind of like a little prequel-ish thing that just kind of expands the universe a little bit between those two and connects those two games a little bit better in the middle there. So you can see what was going on between those events. And it's coming to Windows back at Linux the 31st of March. It's also going to be on Android and iOS, just like the other editions. So I wanted to throw that one out there because I know, I didn't play Baldur's Gate. I know my brother was really into it, really liked it. He played, I think he played both Baldur's Gates and he played Icewind Dale, and he loved the hell out of them. I played a little bit of Baldur's Gate, not a lot. I didn't play enough to get into it, honestly. I was more into not Icewind Dale. I got more into Neverwinter Nights many years later than I did with Baldur's Gate, but because Baldur's Gate was sort of it was a little bit older school. I mean, I think they were both third edition rules, I think, but Baldur's Gate was a little bit older school on how it did things. With the dice rolls and stuff, like showing them on screen and a few other things. But I probably could get into it again if I tried. I just wasn't into it at the time. And honestly, Neverwinter Nights, I got very far into it and then never finished it. Like I have this problem with long form RPGs where I give up on them at some point. So. I would kind of be interested to go back and look at Baldur's Gate to see if it's something that I would enjoy this time around as opposed to when I first did it. But yeah, all that stuff is out there now, and there's now an expansion if you have the Enhanced Edition. So awesome. And those things link you to Destructoid, which gives you the information I just gave you. That's about all the information that we have to date as far as I know. So I think I have been rattling on for quite a while. I've managed somehow to record this a lot earlier at night than, well, not a lot earlier, but earlier at night than I normally do. So I've been able to hopefully be a lot more attentive and, on the ball than last time. The last episode, at the end there, man, I was, I was speaking with my eyes closed, and I was not even sure that I was making any lick of sense. And I was pretty sure I was going to just scrap the whole thing and try again, but it turned out I was still making some bit of sense at the end there. So thankfully I haven't had that problem today because I am, like I said, a little bit earlier than normal. So episode 100. I hope it's been a good episode for all you guys and gals, and thanks everyone for watching on YouTube or listening on SoundCloud and sticking around and being generally awesome people. And I will see you folks next Sunday.